Hi, this is Team 10 here for our business scenario 230 meeting. We're going to discuss all of the different parts of our spreadsheets individually and then which one we decided to go off of. We'll talk about the differences between them, what we did kind of to mess around with it, what our roles are for this next one, and how we're going to attack the new beer unit. So I'll begin and I'll share my screen. All right, can you guys see?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so for mine, for Taj Mahal, I kept the steady price of 1750 throughout the last couple of scenarios and simulations. That has worked really well for us. I don't think we've changed that even once, so I decided to keep that there. I lowered the production to 2,000 at the beginning, bringing it back up to 3,000 in the 4,000 range, just dropping it 1,000 in March, and May, and then back up to 4,000 again every 2 months-ish. I drop it down to 3,000 and then ending September to November strong with 4,000 again. Another thing that we are having to tackle is adding the new fermenter. So starting in, what is that? April, we put in 5, which we learned from last time that we're going to start buying that right off the bat so that we can get more beers in the fermenter as soon as it's ready. For Alley Cat, I kept the price at 1550 for the first 2 months, moved it up to 16 a little bit. I was trying to play around with this a little bit, even moving it up to like 1620, 1625, just to see what that would do. But even that ended in lost sales. So I've kept it at 16. I then moved up to 17 for April through June, moving up to 18 for 2 months. I couldn't do 18 for any more months. I just did July and August because those months were like the peak months. And then moving it back down to the price of 1550. Oops. Um, for inventory, I started off strong with inventory for Alley Cat, doing 5,000 through July, just because this is our strongest seller and brings in the most money for us, I feel. So definitely put those in, get a lot in there so we're not losing inventory, we're not having lost sales. Then bring it back down to 4,000. And then in the slower months, October to December, I increased it a lot or decreased it a lot, bring it down to 1,000. For the new one, Munich, I just kept the price the same. I didn't change it at all just because it's new. We haven't really done anything with it. So I just wanted to keep it like that. Same thing with production new. I don't want to put too much and have too much left over, and I don't want to have lost sales, so we're just keeping it. Edgar, the price I moved it up to 16 for the months January through June, and then I dropped it back down to 14 for the last few months, and that seemed to help me a little bit. And then yeah, I ended with a EBT of $312,064.
Okay, so again, I'm not able to share my spreadsheet because my computer's still having issues, but I didn't really change much for Edgar, Alley Cat, or Taj Mahal. I kind of kept it similar to our last scenario, which I think was 220. Um, I may have changed like some of the pricing for the summer, but what I really played around with was the new product, which I think, what is it pronounced again? I forgot to pronounce it, but I kept the pricing for that product the same as its original. The only really thing that I changed was I decreased how much product was for each of the month, which I'm pretty sure it was 2,500 for all of the months, and then turned my fermenters from 4 to 5 for all the ones that I'm able to change. And my ending EBT was 3,009.
Okay, so for my spreadsheet, for Taj Mahal, I pretty much kept the price the same from January to December at 1750. For production, I kind of just played around a little bit. I started at 2,000 and increased to 2,500 in March, and then I went up to 4,000 for April and May, and then kind of just played around with it to meet demand and to also not have any lost sales in Taj Mahal. For Alley Cat, I kept the pricing of 15.50 from January to March. Went increased to $17 from April to June, and then in July I went up to or increased it to $17 from April to June, and then I went up to $18 in July and August, and back down to $15 in September to December. For production, I also kind of just played around with Alley Cat, but I kept it pretty high because I know this is one of our most selling beers. So I started with 4,000 and then just kind of went up 4,500 for 2 months, 6,000, and so on. For the new beer Munich, I kind of just added production to meet demand, so I kept the price the same and only added 2,500 of production for each month. And for Edgar L, I changed the pricing from April to September from 15.50 to 14.50, and then back up in October, and then back down in November. I kind of was just playing around with pricing a little bit to get my EBT higher. For the fermenters, I changed them from April into December from 4 to 5, and my ending EBT was $320,168.
Okay, so for my spreadsheet, starting off with Taj Mahal, I kept prices at $17.50 the entire year. For production, I started off low and then kept it at 3,000 to 3,800 cases, depending on the season. I also try to have enough inventory so I didn't have major lost sales. For Alley Cat, I kept prices at $15.50 for 3 months and then raised it to $2 more during the middle of the season and then back to $15.50 during the end. For my production, I started off high so I could build inventory, and then during the middle to end of the months, I was just experimenting with the numbers of cases to see what worked best. For Munich, I kept prices at $13 the entire year. I also kept production at 2,500 cases all year so it could match the demand. For Edgar, I kept prices at $14.50 all year. For the number of fermenters, I changed the number from 4 to 5 starting at April all the way to December in order to raise capacity, and my ending EBT was $320,747.
So after looking at all four spreadsheets, obviously we kind of all took a different approach at it. We ended up deciding collectively that we're going to follow Frida's. The difference between hers is that she experimented a little bit more with the numbers, and when you looked at hers, especially in Alley Cat, hers was more exact in the middle rather than at the beginning. For me, I kind of kept the same numbers, and then I went and a big decrease. I went from 5,000 to 1,000 or 4,000 to 1,000 when hers started off strong and then slowly went down again. So I think that definitely helped. And I think that we can definitely take that approach for our simulation, which I think will be good. I also think that one takeaway from our spreadsheets is that we're going to keep the Munich pretty steady, not change anything just because it is our first time with it. Like I said the first time, or at the beginning of this video, we are going to buy the fermenter right away so it's ready for the busy months, and that was our mistake the first time. But yeah, we all have our jobs. I'm still in charge of putting in production orders. Jana's looking at the inventory. Frida's looking at the lost sales. Rachel's looking at the graphs and kind of just overlooking everything to see where we need help. And then it's just going to be it's going to be a team effort to see how to work together on the new beer Munich. So that is our business 2:30 simulation meeting, and we look forward to running it. Thank you.